put my spittoon down.
Has anyone got a phone to play them?
Yeah. Now we're all recording.
Cool. Yep, right there. Okay. Okay, great. We'll start with opening comments from Shawn, and we'll get into questions.
Hi, everybody. As you know, it always makes me nervous in the opening comments, like I'm supposed to say something profound. And so, I will say this. For us in NXT, I mean, WWE, in general, this is a huge weekend. It always is a huge weekend when it's WrestleMania season. It seems like more often than not these days we're saying biggest ever, and it's staggering to me how, I don't know, we continue to grow, and it's just amazing to me. You've got Roman and The Rock back. I mean, and it is, once again, it's the biggest WrestleMania ever, and certainly for us here in NXT, very honored to say that we are looking at the largest gate in NXT history, second only to, I believe, 2019 in Brooklyn, as far as attendance and money is concerned. And I will say that is not apples to apples. That was, when WrestleMania was one night and NXT was going on Saturday evening at 8 o'clock at a standard time. Whereas today, WrestleMania is 2 days, filling a stadium, and we are going on at 12 in the afternoon. And so for us in NXT in this era, this is absolutely huge, not just for me, but for our young men and women that come through NXT. And you guys have heard me say it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think what we've done in NXT in the last couple of years is nothing short of a miracle. Trick Williams is walking out there tomorrow with, 2 years under his belt. Carmelo Hayes, another young man. Yes, he's been doing it for a while, but they're going out there and they're creating history. I don't know, I just, up and down the card, Ilya Dragunov, Tony D'Angelo, 2 years. Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria, Roxanne's, one of our veterans, and so is Lyra at the ripe old age of maybe averaging 24. Won't be long before they're over the hill. Again, I'm just, as I always am, I'm just so proud of what we've accomplished and how hard they all work for us. So anyway, I'm just thrilled about that. Obviously, from a business standpoint, we're doing pretty well this quarter. I think we're up, as what I now understand, the key demos and all that kind of stuff, up 31%, which is, again, just mind-blowing to me. I will say this. My kids in NXT, they came in the door and they always heard about the black and gold. And we're obviously very proud of the history of NXT and the black and gold. But I think it's time for them to have, as the kids say today, to give them their flowers. What they've done in the last couple of years has just been unbelievably amazing. And I am so proud of them. And like I said, this is where, again, the soft little old man in me gets very emotional because I'm so proud of what they've done. And I can't wait for them to just have a fantastic show. And I hope all of you tune in and enjoy it. And I guess with that, we will start with the questions.
You guys just raise your hand, that'd be great.
Hi, Shawn, it's Alistair from Metro in the UK.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you about Ava. We've seen her kind of transition into a different role. I was wondering what your assessment was of her development, and can we still expect to see her back in the ring? So what's the goal there?
Well, from a ring standpoint, we'll wait and see on that, to be perfectly honest, because she is doing a fantastic job as GM. It was something that I thought about it, a long time ago, but it was one of those things where, okay, well, we'll wait to see if that looks like it presents itself. After, some time in the ring and doing everything with Schism, felt like it was time to go there. Her development has been fantastic. I'm very proud of her. She's getting very comfortable in that role. I think the timing that we did it, which again, we did not know that The Rock was going to come back and have quite the presence that he has here now. And that's one of those things that I always enjoy it when we're not planning on doing something, and it just turns out even better as we're doing it. And again, she has done a fantastic job. She's great at, one of the things that she's really been great at lately, which is we've had some last minute things that have gone on during a live television show, and she has adjusted and adapted. She's on the ready. She's one of the, she's probably, besides myself and my head writer, Johnny Russo, that, she's one of the three of us that has to be ready for anything to change. And we throw a lot on her at the last minute, and she's just been a great job of handling that. And so we're very proud of her progress.
Kurt?
Shawn, Kurt with News Nation. Just as NXT and for the Superstars, it's a gateway for them to get to Raw or SmackDown, hopefully. What do you think of NXT as the gateway for the audience, for younger fans who are tuning in, who may not have even followed WWE before, but they see these younger superstars that they can relate to, that they follow their story? How do you see NXT as that property that can be an attraction to get newer fans and a younger audience come into the WWE product?
Well, look, I think that's exactly what it's doing. I think you can see with NXT that not just our athletes are getting younger, but so is our audience. And so I think one of the things that's obviously going to assist in that and help that continue and for that young audience to grow is going to be the move to CW later this year. And so I think that's something, again, that I really enjoy the fact that that we're out there recruiting out of these colleges and going after these young men and women. And it's just, again, we had another one yesterday, and it's, again, staggering. There are a lot of pretty people in this world, both men and women. I had no idea that there were that many, but it really is. It's staggering, and they're unbelievable athletes, and I don't know, and they're a great many that we end up choosing are getting it so fast, and I think that speaks very positively about the future of this industry. And look, if you do this long enough, you realize that one of the greatest gifts you can have is to kind of give back to it. And that's certainly what we're trying to do here in NXT. But I think I think people like watching like people, and so I think as our men and women and our performers get younger, I think that audience is going to get younger as well. We certainly try to, again, we have people on our creative team that we're bringing in that are younger. So that is certainly something that we are focused on. I'm actually here and there doing my best to, look into things I wouldn't ordinarily, be looking into. And that's not to say anything, risque or anything. But no, but again, I have a young lady on our creative team that sort of keeps me up. I have a daughter that. And my wife that keep me up on some of the latest trends and what's cool and stuff like that, because I am absolutely so not any of that. But again, I have great people around me that help us focus on that. And again, as I said, I think the move to CW is going to be a huge step in that direction as well.
Malcolm.
So NXT North American champion Obafemi's been killing it. What's your projection of him as a superstar and just in the WWE and NXT?
Well, again, the cliche is the sky's the limit, as they say, but it is with Oba. You can see it. Obviously, it's. I think from the first day he walked out there, everybody, again, felt the aura that he has. He's unbelievably impressive. I tell you what, just from a character standpoint, as a human being, boy, he's a bright young man, and again, he is so focused. That's the thing. I go back to again the recruiting system that we have with these athletes that are coming in. They've been taught from a very young age. Their normal is to, again, perform, to get better, to achieve goals, and that's one of the things that's why it's again what we've done in the last couple of years has been so amazing, because that's all they know. We're not taking them out of their normal, except from, teaching them a new craft. But they're so challenged by trying to do something new, and they've been again hungry from the day. They were born, and they've been sort of bred to look at a goal and make it happen. And so I don't know, it's just been a phenomenal thing. He's been one of the very bright spots. And again, here he is. I don't know his timing, but I think he's been less than a year. I know Johnny's in here somewhere, and he could tell me.
Yeah,
Again, he's
barely over a year.
Yeah, I mean, been here for a year, He's the North American champion, and again, he's going out there to perform at our biggest show of the year, and we have nothing but the utmost confidence in him. He's out there with, you know, two unbelievably talented men as well, in Josh Briggs and Dijak, but again, he wouldn't be there if he wasn't ready to go. So I have nothing but the utmost confidence in him, and again, I think he's going to go a long way for sure, in, you know, not just in NXT, but obviously in the WWE in the future.
Thank you.
Will. Hey Sean, Will Gavin, TalkSport. Can I ask you about the reports that 3 of your guys in the Gallus boys have been training with The Rock in the ring ahead of his return to WrestleMania this weekend? How that came about, how them going on loan essentially happened, and what reports you've been getting back from those guys?
Yeah, well, so he needed some folks to, you know, to train with, and so we obviously, you're talking about 3 guys that know what they're doing, been around the block, understand every aspect of the business, understand. I don't know. Again, there's sometimes you can have somebody out there younger to just fly around, but you need guys that are mature, professional. You know, can adjust in everything to what, you know, Rock wants, and so I guess obviously I'm partial to those guys. They're fantastic guys, but they're so professional. They're very dependable, and so I'll say this: all I know is that they said thanks, and they sent us a picture of The Rock and all 3 of them doing the Gallus pose. So I feel like that's probably a good sign that everything's going pretty well.
Thanks, Sean.
Jay Reddick.
Jay Reddick with the Orlando Sentinel. Looking at Mello and Trick, it seems like they've grown so much in the ring, obviously. What seems to have grown so much with them is their aura and just their presence. Is that something you've seen also? And is that something that can be taught, or is that just reps?
Well, so I don't know that it can be taught. One of the things that we have really tried to focus on with Trick and Mello in this, because they're both gifted, they're both charismatic, and they're both also, again, they have that cool factor. And that's something between the ability in the ring and the cool factor. It's very easy to get comfortable and just stay in that space. But what we've really tried to work on is them embracing the story, showing, again, the brotherhood and the bond that some of us have with one another on the road, and trying to help them get comfortable showing that emotion and that vulnerability. And I think in that's what's made this, again, so epic, and which is, again, led to, you know, again, the raise in viewers and the raise in attendance. It's because those two have not just connected, again, on that cool level or that athletic level, but they've also shown the viewer that, again, they have a range in them. And I think when you put all those things together, it creates that aura that you're speaking of. Certainly it helps, like I said, that they both come in with just the, you know, that it factor that we talk about all the time but can't really define. They certainly have that, but they've been 2 guys that I am very thankful for, that have trusted me in going to places emotionally that they may or may not have been comfortable with, and embracing that, and now, you know, them looking at the largest gate in NXT history, and them going like, okay, this is really working, this is exciting, and they're also doing something that is absolutely monumental and historic, and helping them understand to embrace that as well. There can, as I've told each of them, there can only be one first, and you know, and again, everybody remembers their first, no matter what it was in, and it's something special, and that they will have to themselves for the rest of their lives, and for them to truly understand that and enjoy that and embrace that, because again, it's absolutely, I don't know, staggering. Again, it's mind-blowing what it is they're doing, and that's happening in NXT. It's happening in the developmental brand of the WWE, and I don't know, I want them to understand how big that is, and to enjoy this moment that they're about to have tomorrow afternoon.
Hi, I'm Lexi from 2K with WWE Games. With it being WrestleMania week and with all the nostalgia, I would just love to hear like your thoughts and your like remembrance it is in WWE 2K24.
Yeah, well, again, that goes back to, again, the first. And that's something that I was talking about with, Mello and Trick. I was so fortunate to have so many of those here in the WWE. And again, when they're at their age, they're, again, those guys, then they're really over the hill at 27. But again, but to understand how important that is, and and now all these years later, again, for it still to be highlighted as that. And again, in the games, I just came a little while ago from, signing action figures and again, and still signing that photo of me diving off the ladder. And so it really is, you have to understand, when I got into this at 19 years old, my dad asking me, my goodness, what if you don't have something to fall back on? What are you going to do? You get hurt, you get injured. What is going to happen with the rest of your life? And it's 40 years later, and I'm getting the opportunity to sit here in front of all of you. And Mello and Trick and so many of the men and women on our roster at Stand and Deliver are going to have the opportunity to do that, to understand, again, at that tryout, letting those young athletes know it can literally change your life. And I don't know, again, I can't help, but I know I get like that every time we do these things, but that's where I'm at now at this place in my life, and I can see the road that they're going down, and I just want them to make the most of it, to enjoy it, to embrace it, because I'm hoping that each and every one of them have the opportunity to be 58 and sitting here in front of your children. You know what I mean? Doing interviews and being able to talk about being in a 2K game. So again, it really does. It's never lost its meaning to me. And again, as you guys continue to come out with that, it keeps reminding me of it, and it's a beautiful and glorious thing.
Two more guys.
Sean, Matt Tucker, Fight Hub TV. Kind of piggybacking off of that last question, how satisfying is it personally to go from your Wild DX days with Hunter to running things with Hunter and absolutely crushing it?
Well, that's again very cool. I don't. It's one of those things you really sit there and scratch your head about, and you sit there. My time is always in the morning as I'm kind of reflecting on this unbelievable journey. But look, I'll say this: I'm less surprised by him. I mean, he's always had a great mind. Always been, level-headed and smart, and really loved and cared about this industry. And I'll tell you what, I think for all of us, it's just put us all in a place to where we can just focus, do our jobs, and do it with joy in our heart. The way that we went out there and did it in the ring, it was the greatest place to be for us. When anytime, didn't matter what was going on in the rest of your life, once you walked down that aisle and stepped into, between those ropes, everything was okay. Everything was right in the world. And now we're getting to do that 24/7, and we're getting to do it for a number of other young men and women that have walked at least close to the same roads that we have, and we understand what it means to be able to be a part of weekends like this, and us wanting it to be everything that they hoped it would be. And it's important to us to deliver on that, and it's also an awesome responsibility. It's something that we want to do well. It's something that we want to make sure we don't screw up. It's very important to us. This is still the same company that has given both of us all the wonderful things we have in our life. This is to be stewarded in a very positive way, and we take that role very seriously. But yeah, to look at the same two guys that used to be pulling their pants down on television and ruining the entire world, I will just say that it's just been an amazing turn of events, shall we say?
Thank you, Sean.
We'll come to you with questions. Thanks, Isa.
Hi, Isa with Lucha Libre Online. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Lyra's reign as NXT Women's Champion, from beating Becky Lynch for that championship to now defending against that former Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez.
Yep. Well, again, as I've said on many occasions, put our ladies up against anybody in the world. And I know that I'm biased, but I'm also fact is a fact. We've got more depth in our women's locker room than any company in the world, and I mean that from the main roster as well. I'll put my ladies up against anybody any day of the week, and Lyra's at the head of that pack. I will say that Lyra was somebody that I looked at from day one when I saw her in the UK. I thought she was special then, and she's still special now. She's done a great job for us. I'm happy that she's been able to have this moment and this run. It was something that I wanted her to have in the UK, but there were different things. So many different things came up. As, we all lived through it, the pandemic and everything else, and then you sort of get on the other side of that, and then there's an injury, and then we get on the other side of that, and it gets shut down. The UK does, but then, so again, she's, hasn't had an easy road either, and so I'm incredibly happy for her to have been able to, again, create a moment for her, especially with Becky, which I know meant the world to her and Becky. And happy, again, that she's now getting, once again, both her and Roxanne having this moment one-on-one, for them to have the entire spotlight on themselves and our women's division. And once again, they're going to be one of the ones that are going to go out there and kill it. And then, they're going to go back, and one of them is going to reign over the most talented ladies' locker room in all of professional wrestling.
We have time for one last one before final comment. So, James, welcome.
Thank you. James Dilo from Gorilla Position. You talk so much about your kids and recruiting a new generation of talents. Is there any talent in particular from AEW that you would love to have in NXT?
Well, look, I guess I always go back to I would take darn near anybody. I'll say this, I can't say specifically because I think there's so much talent there. And I never know where I'm supposed to list names. I don't know everybody's situation. The last thing I want to do is get anyone in trouble. A lot of guys that used to be at NXT are up there that I've always loved. But I don't get the opportunity to watch as much as I would like to. But I know that I love working with young talent, and especially when I get to know them and I understand, I don't know, their passion, and I don't know, their desire. I don't, until I know what your desire is in this business, it's hard for me to say whether, whether you're the one that I'm going to work really hard for. I don't know. It's more. So it's become so personal to me on that level. There's certainly people that I see from just a talent standpoint that you go, oh my goodness, they've got a great deal of ability. Boy, if we ever got a chance to work with them, I think we could really do something special with them. I'll even, the person we got, Shawn Spears, he was a guy that I worked with a little bit here in NXT before he got called up and then eventually left. But I always liked him. Because I just always thought he was, again, a very, formidable, secure, professional dude that could give you, anything you asked for. And so I'll say this, we enjoy working with darn near anybody and trying to make them better than whatever, they were doing before. Whether it's coming out of college or with you were with another promotion. I do know that if you'll give us at NXT the opportunity to work with you, I think we can get you at least closer, a hell of a lot closer to your goals and what you want to accomplish out of this business than anybody else, because that's what we do, and we work really hard at doing that. So we're more than happy, whether it's AEW, whether it's Japan, TNA, go around the globe. I'm really excited about NXT having the opportunity to make anybody's career better than what it is they're currently doing, and allow them to have the opportunity to enjoy weekends like the one we're about to have.
Amazing, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Let's pass back to Shawn for any final comments ahead of the show.
Look, I don't know that I have any. Just looking forward to again, an incredible show this weekend. I don't know. Always, again, I thank you guys for doing this for us. I thank you again, whether it's good, bad, or down the middle, all of the help with promoting NXT and supporting us. look, I know everybody in this room, for one reason or another, as you know, is a wrestling fan at some point. And I don't know, none of this stuff works without all of us, whether we agree with each other or we don't. I don't know, none of that stuff has ever really bothered me too much. Everybody's got a different opinion, they got different things they like and they don't like. You know, we try to do our best to make it enjoyable for everybody. You know, again, the guys that I used to run around with, we always did this stuff and we just wanted people to enjoy it and have fun while we were doing it. And that's what we continue to do in NXT. You know, the people that I run around with that work with me are the same people that I don't know, I spend my off time with. You know what I mean? If it isn't my wife, it's poor Johnny Russo who's got to, you know, spend time with me and put up with me and babysit me and, you know, get hit by bullets and shrapnel. The poor guy needs a breast of Kevlar, for heaven's sakes, to, you know, with many buses he's got thrown under. But again, just, you know, I don't know, I love weekends like this. Appreciate y'all helping us out. Saturday, again, Stand and Deliver is going to be a historic moment, I guess, when everything's said and done. I want the focus to be on, again, you know, the young men and women in NXT. They're going to be the ones that are going to kick off WrestleMania weekend officially. They're going to do it with style. They're going to do it their way. And they're going to make sure, again, that even though the big ones, the big heavy guns are coming out, you know what I mean, on Saturday night and Sunday night, but the future starts tomorrow afternoon, and it starts with NXT and the young men and women that are going to, you know, kick this weekend off and give everybody something to remember because it's going to be historic. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.